The wedding day had been everything they dreamed of. The grand venue, a lush ballroom adorned with white roses, crystal chandeliers, and gold accents, exuded luxury. Guests were dressed in their finest, laughter and chatter filled the air, and the bride, Lily, radiant in her lace gown, stood at the altar with her groom, Nathan. It was supposed to be the beginning of forever, a picture-perfect celebration of love. But then, something happened that no one could have foreseen. Please kindly hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next chilling tales. As the newlyweds walked down the aisle, the cheers of the guests suddenly stopped. The music faded out. Whispers began to travel through the crowd. "The groom is gone," started as a murmur, then grew louder. A sense of unease swept over the gathering. Nathan, the groom, who had been standing beside Lily just moments ago, was no longer there. He had vanished without a trace. The guests exchanged confused glances. Was it part of some elaborate prank? But no one was laughing. The bridal party looked around frantically, their smiles fading into concern. Lily, her face paling, called out Nathan's name, her voice trembling. There was no response. The confusion quickly turned into chaos. Wedding planners rushed to search the grounds, calling Nathan's name. The caterers abandoned their stations, their perfectly prepared dishes growing cold. It wasn't just a missing person. It was the disappearance of the groom in the middle of his own wedding day. Panic spread through the venue as the realization set in. Nathan was nowhere to be found. Lily's heart raced as she tried calling his phone, but it went straight to voicemail. The best man, James, who had been at Nathan's side all morning, began pacing, muttering under his breath. He didn't seem to know what to do. Guests milled around, some texting, others whispering. What could have happened to Nathan? It wasn't like him to just disappear, especially on a day as important as his wedding. Lily tried to stay composed but couldn't help the tears welling in her eyes. She turned to James. "Where is he? He was fine just a few minutes ago." James, looking increasingly uneasy, just shook his head. "I don't know, Lily. I've been with him all day. I didn't see anything unusual." The police were called, and soon uniformed officers began questioning the staff, the guests, and anyone who might have seen something. Meanwhile, Lily sat helplessly at a corner table, her mind spinning. What could have happened? Why would Nathan leave, especially with all eyes on him? As the authorities launched their investigation, they discovered that no one had seen Nathan leave the venue. No one had heard a struggle or any sound that would suggest foul play. Yet, there were subtle clues. A glass of champagne left half drunk, his coat neatly folded on a chair, and a strange, cryptic text message on his phone from a number Lily didn't recognize. Who could have taken him? Or did Nathan leave willingly? The investigation began by examining the guest list. It wasn't just an ordinary gathering. It was a crossroads of relationships, business ties, and old flames. There were several individuals whose motives were anything but clear. Sophie, Nathan's ex-fiancée, had been part of his life years before he met Lily. She still carried a bitter grudge, even if she hid it beneath a well-rehearsed smile. The breakup was messy, filled with accusations of betrayal and lies. Some said that Nathan had promised her they would reconnect someday. Sophie had claimed she had moved on, but her tight-lipped responses during the reception didn't convince anyone. David, the estranged business partner, and Nathan had worked together for years, but there had been tension recently. Financial troubles had surfaced in their company, and Nathan had been secretly planning to sell his stake. David was rumored to be in deep debt, and a breakup of their partnership would have been disastrous for him. Had he staged a disappearance to punish Nathan, or worse, to take him out of the picture permanently? James, Nathan's best man, had been Nathan's closest friend for years, but lately his behavior had become erratic. He seemed unusually nervous, avoiding eye contact with Lily. Was there something he was hiding? Was his loyalty to Nathan as unwavering as it appeared? Or was he harboring a hidden agenda? Each person had something to hide, and as the investigation continued, it became clear that everyone had a secret. But did one of them want Nathan gone for good? To understand why Nathan disappeared, the authorities delved into his past. What had he been hiding from Lily, his family, and his friends? Nathan had always seemed like the perfect man, but beneath the charm and the polished exterior lay a tangled web of secrets. There were unacknowledged debts, a few large loans from a shadowy lender with a reputation for being ruthless. His family had disapproved of his financial dealings, but he kept it hidden from everyone. Then there was the mysterious phone call. Weeks before the wedding, Nathan had received an urgent message from a number Lily didn't recognize. The conversation had been heated, with Nathan insisting that he would fix things. The details of the call remained a mystery, as Nathan had refused to share the nature of the conversation with anyone. Had the call been a warning, a threat, or was it something deeper? The investigators found something unexpected. A guest, Peter, who had RSVP'd last minute. Peter was an old college friend of Nathan's, but Lily had never heard of him. His arrival at the wedding had been sudden, and his presence was unremarkable. But the more the police dug into his background, the more they began to realize he was connected to Nathan's past in ways no one had expected. The search for Nathan grew more desperate by the hour. The timeline of his disappearance was becoming clearer. He had last been seen talking to Peter near the garden area just after the vows were exchanged. The security footage, when reviewed, showed Peter and Nathan talking animatedly, but after that, Nathan was never seen again. Lily began to notice things she hadn't before. The curious RSVP, Peter's last-minute appearance, the strange phone call. They all seemed to point to something much larger than she had initially realized. Was it possible that Peter knew something about Nathan that the rest of them didn't? The investigation revealed a crucial clue, an unexpected gift left on Nathan's table during the reception. It was a small box, wrapped in black paper with no name or note attached. When Lily opened it, she found a key to a safety deposit box. The realization hit her like a ton of bricks. Nathan had been planning something. A final escape? A secret deal? A way out? In a surprising turn of events, a seemingly trivial detail was discovered. A half-empty glass of champagne with a piece of paper beneath it. The paper, carefully tucked under the glass, was a note written in Nathan's handwriting. "I'm sorry. Please understand. I have to do this." Was Nathan trying to send a message? What had led him to leave on his wedding day? Was it something he had planned all along, or had something happened in the moments leading up to his disappearance that forced his hand? As the investigation deepened, an unexpected twist surfaced. The groom wasn't kidnapped. He wasn't the victim of a crime. Instead, Nathan had chosen to disappear on his own terms. But why? The investigation into Nathan's past unraveled the true reason for his disappearance. A carefully hidden family secret. Nathan had uncovered something that had been buried for years. A connection to someone in the guest list. Someone who had been orchestrating events behind the scenes. Nathan's disappearance was no longer a mystery. It was an act of escape. An escape from a past he couldn't outrun, from a deal gone wrong, and from a life he had been trying to leave behind. His disappearance was the only way to protect those he loved, including Lily. The twist left everyone stunned. But it wasn't the end. The true cost of secrets had just begun to unfold. The groom's disappearance left the guests in a state of shock, but the consequences of Nathan's actions reverberated far beyond the wedding venue. As the investigation unfolded, arrests were made, and accusations were thrown. Some guests found themselves in a spotlight they never anticipated, while others were left questioning their own involvement in Nathan's life and disappearance. Lily, her emotions torn between confusion and a lingering sense of betrayal, was forced to reconcile the man she had just married with the man who had disappeared without a trace. She wasn't sure who she was grieving, the Nathan she had known or the man who had been hiding in plain sight all along. Among those arrested was Peter, the mysterious last-minute guest. The authorities discovered that he had been involved in a long-standing feud with Nathan's family, a hidden rivalry that went back years, one that neither Nathan nor Lily had ever been aware of. It turned out that Peter had known far more about Nathan's past than anyone had anticipated. A series of old debts, business deals gone sour, and family betrayals had led to a mounting resentment. Peter's presence at the wedding, far from coincidental, was part of a calculated move to confront Nathan and force him to deal with the past. James, Nathan's best man, was cleared of suspicion but still left with questions. The nervousness that had seemed so out of place now made sense. He had been a close confidant of Nathan's, privy to many of the groom's hidden struggles. But in the end, James revealed that he had no idea about Nathan's plans to disappear. His role had been nothing more than a bystander to events he could not control. Lily, now facing the aftermath of the wedding, found herself at a crossroads. Her heart ached for Nathan, the man she thought she knew, and she struggled with the idea that he might have chosen to leave her behind, with all their wedding dreams unfulfilled. The guests' whispers were relentless, and the media caught wind of the story, painting Nathan as a man who had committed a shocking betrayal. Some speculated that his disappearance was the result of cold feet, while others believed there was something far darker at play. Yet, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that Nathan had left with a purpose, not just to escape, but to protect someone. Perhaps it wasn't just about his own secrets. Perhaps there was a greater danger at play, one that only Nathan fully understood. And the more she thought about it, the more convinced she became that his disappearance wasn't a random act of cowardice. Despite the shocking revelations, the mystery was far from over. The police continued to pursue leads, but they quickly found themselves at a dead end. No one knew where Nathan had gone, and no one seemed to have any further clues. The guest list, the phone calls, the secretive meetings. It all seemed like a tangled mess with no clear solution. Then, Lily received an unexpected phone call. It was from an unknown number, and when she answered, her heart skipped a beat. Lily, the voice on the other end was familiar, but distorted. It was Nathan, her breath caught in her throat. Nathan, she could barely speak. Please, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm sorry, I had to leave. You deserve more than I can give you right now. Nathan's voice trembled. There's so much you don't know, Lily, but I need to protect you from it. It's too dangerous for me to come back. Where are you? Lily demanded, tears streaming down her face. We can figure this out. Please, don't leave me like this. Nathan hesitated, his words breaking the silence. I can't. I've made too many mistakes. There's a lot you don't understand. I can't come back to that life. But you're safe. That's all I can promise. The line went dead. Lily stood frozen, staring at the phone in disbelief. What did Nathan mean? What was this secret he was hiding? And more importantly, why couldn't he trust her with the truth? She was left with more questions than answers. Nathan's voice, weak and distant, haunted her thoughts. She had to find him. She had to understand what had led him to disappear and what he had left behind. Days passed and the investigation stalled. Lily, still clinging to the hope that Nathan might return, began her own search. She reached out to Nathan's old business associates, his family, anyone who might have a piece of the puzzle she was missing. Each conversation revealed more gaps in Nathan's story, but none gave her the closure she desperately sought. One day, while sifting through Nathan's belongings in the apartment they had planned to share, Lily stumbled upon an old journal hidden beneath a pile of papers. The journal was a relic from Nathan's past, filled with entries that ranged from mundane to deeply personal. But one entry, dated just days before the wedding, caught her eye. In the journal, Nathan confessed to a secret that had haunted him for years. He had been involved in a financial deal with Peter, the estranged business partner. But it wasn't just a deal. It was a dangerous, illegal venture that had spiraled out of control. Peter had blackmailed Nathan into participating, threatening to expose him if he didn't comply. The deeper Nathan got into the deal, the more he realized he couldn't escape the consequences. But there was more. The journal revealed that Nathan had been in contact with someone from his past, someone who had a powerful hold over him. Nathan's fears were justified. His disappearance wasn't just a break from the wedding. It was a desperate attempt to escape the dangerous people chasing him. Lily's heart sank as the final pieces of the puzzle clicked into place. Nathan hadn't vanished because of cold feet. He hadn't disappeared out of fear for himself alone. He had left to protect her and to sever ties with a dangerous past that threatened to destroy everything they had built together. Nathan was never found. Despite the efforts of the police and Lily's tireless search, no one ever uncovered the full truth behind his disappearance. The investigation into his life and secrets continued for months, but the answers never fully materialized. Was Nathan still alive? Had he truly escaped? Or was he a victim of something more sinister? For Lily, the questions never stopped. But what she did know was that the man she thought she knew, the man she had married, had been hiding a lifetime of secrets. And while she would always wonder about the man who vanished from his own wedding, she would also remember him as the one who had sacrificed everything to protect her. The missing groom left behind more than just unanswered questions. He left a legacy of love, sacrifice, and the haunting reminder that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved. Please kindly hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next chilling tales. Never forget, hidden secrets, no matter how well concealed, always have consequences, and that true love often requires sacrifice and facing uncomfortable truths. And there are dangers to being entangled in unresolved pasts, where the choices of one person can affect everyone around them.